Hey guys, Mobius1 here again, doing part 2 of my bizarre shopping tutorial guide thingy. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about, we're no longer going to be talking about the bizarre, instead we're going to be talking about player-owned vendors. However, while the bizarre terminal may be lacking in the ability to enter in an item name and search for that specifically, it does make up for that, sort of, with a nice little vendor location button at the top here. And the reason this is nice, for me at least, is because this did not used to be here. This vendor location button was added into Galaxies in a later patch. Luckily, this version of the emulator, or the version of Galaxies the Emu is emulating, includes that patch. But in the early days, this tab did not exist. And I'm going to show you why this tab is freaking awesome. So, in my last episode, which I hope you all watched, you better go watch it, I mentioned towards the end how there is a hard credit cap of 20,000 credits on anything that you can post on the Bazaar. Ooh, thunder. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Anyway, so what happens if you want to sell something for more than 20,000 credits? Or what happens if you're looking to buy a full suit of armor instead of buy it, piece by piece? Wants to buy just boots. Or where are you going to get really rare items that people just aren't going to sell for 20,000 credits or less? You have to sell them on a privately owned vendor in a house. So by clicking this vendor location, what this is actually doing is no longer searching the Bazaar, but you're now searching through player-owned vendors across the entire, whatever you filter by. Now obviously this region, you're only going to get things that are really, really close to you. You're only going to get search results that are really, really close to you. Most of the time you're not going to get any because of, depending on where you are. Again, I'm in Coronet, the largest trade hub in the game. But if I switch this to this planet, now we're seeing all of the vendors, or all items that are being sold on all vendors on Corellia. And it even tells you under location what city the vendor is in. It even gives you a distance to the vendor down to the meter. Now there's quite a bit more information here than when you're doing just your standard Bazaar search, so we're going to go over that. You have the item name, obviously. Item type is the same. Location, obviously, is just the city that it's going to be in, which looks like this Corellia Live City must have a mall, which we're going to talk about malls a little bit later. The distance, obviously, is the distance to the vendor. Entrance fee. Now, you're not going to see a lot of vendors with an entrance fee, though it is not unheard of. Basically, the merchant profession has the ability, and I'm just flipping through these pages to see if I find any. The merchant profession has the ability to put an entrance fee on any house that they own. Basically, all it is exactly what it sounds like. If you try to enter that house, you need to pay whatever they set the entrance fee to before you're even admitted into the house. So whenever you go to buy anything through a vendor location, you want to make sure you check this. Well, you see, I'm already, up to 1,500 weapons through here, and these are all on Corellia, and I haven't found a single vendor that has an entrance fee yet, but like I said, they exist. You want to take that into account when you're looking at the price. And speaking of price, you can see that these prices are well beyond the 20,000 cap on the vendor, or on the Bazaar. This Vibro Knuckler right here, which is really nice actually, sheesh, is, what is that, 10 million? 10.75 million credits for this guy right here. Anyway. So yes, this is where you're going to find the good stuff. Now, all the filtering is all done exactly the same as the Bazaar video, so I'm not going to go over that. Definitely go watch that video if you haven't already. But this is where you're going to find, most of your houses, installations, any of your armor. Though remember, if you're searching for armor in a suit, like a full suit, you're not going to find it under the armor category. You're going to have to go down to wearable containers under miscellaneous. Because what players will do is they will put their... oh god, did I just lag out? Thank you, Galaxies. As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted. To find full suits of armor, you're going to want to come down to the wearable container. Was I not lagged out? I was looking at the item names. Alright, so look. So item type, these are all wearable containers. But if you read the name of them, see, most of these are iron, hide. So if let's sort these by price. And look at the really expensive ones. I'm going to explain that in a minute. See if I can't find any armor. God, it's going to be all max 9s. So, here we go. So, this GA Composite Bracer Mini Suit. So this right here is a mini suit, 80% kinetic of composite armor. And a mini suit, I believe, is a helmet, chest, boots, and in this case, a bracer. Obviously, like I said in the last video, that doesn't always guarantee that's what's going to be in the backpack, and the game warns you about that every time you purchase a backpack. But most of the time, if it's from a respected vendor, like VD here, you know it's legit. Now, you're going to see this a lot also. Items that are for sale for, like, maxed out 9s, like ridiculous prices that you'll never purchase. That is because what these people are doing, they're actually using vendors as item storage. And what they'll do, since items on a vendor do not count towards the maximum number of items in a house, some players will actually have a merchant alt that can place vendors in their house just to store junk items that they don't want cluttering up their house. And in order to prevent people from purchasing those items, they'll just make the price such a ridiculous, 999 million credits, so that no one, theoretically, no one will be able to purchase that item, though I don't know why anyone ever would. Though it would be pretty funny. If anyone ever wants to purchase an item for 999 million, let me know so I can be there and record that, because that'd be pretty cool. Anyway, so that's what's going on with that. The only other thing that I can really think that's important to mention here is you may notice when you go to buy anything from a vendor search, there is no buy button. So if you do want to buy anything, this does not work the same as the Bazaar. You actually have to travel to the location to pick it up. So if I wanted to buy this proton grenade or anything from this Corellia Live Research Facility City, by the way, you would click, actually you can't even click it in here, you have to click it here, create waypoint, and what that does is that actually makes a waypoint directly to the vendor. So similarly to how when you purchase an item on the Bazaar, it gives you a waypoint to a Bazaar terminal in that city. When you purchase, or when you want to purchase an item on the vendor search, you'll get a waypoint to the vendor that the item is being sold from. So in this case, it's only about a kilometer south of Corellia, or Coronet on Corellia. So we'll go check it out. We'll see what it looks like, what most vendors look like. Good, I remember my global terrain detail settings. Sometimes my settings get defaulted. So while we're checking this out, I'll talk to you a little bit about malls. A lot of major cities, and even, I guess, some players who are really just all about crafting and galaxies, will actually use player association or guild halls as malls. Not to say that you couldn't use a regular house as a mall, it just... See right here, we got Realtree Mini Mall. Just so happens that this house he's calling a mini mall. And as you can see, just by walking in, he's got 4 vendors lined up right here. which I believe this is the vendor. My Jantahide, no. Maybe the one next to it. Weapon. Yes, here's the proton grenade that I was looking at. So if I wanted to buy it, this is where I'd have to buy it from. Alright, and the waypoint is going to be put in your data pad. So if you want to save it, you can, save it. Oh, look, proton grenade vendor. Ta-da. As you can see, I have a few other waypoints already stored in here. The only one that I want to mention is the South Coronet Mall. And the reason I want to mention that is because I'm pretty sure every server back in the live galaxies had a South Coronet Mall. And it's simply because, well, many of you are familiar with the term location, location, location. Since Coronet is the largest trade hub, and the starport is located on the south side of the city, any real estate south of Coronet is considered high-value real estate. So all of these houses here are owned by very lucky players, basically. There are some people that will pay a high amount of credits to get a lot close to the southern side of Coronet, just so they can set up shops here so that players don't have to travel very far. And I'm sure when the official Galaxies version, or official emulator server goes live, Sun Crusher, there will be a mad dash to grab this real estate. Like, I almost want to record it. I probably will. We'll see. So as you can see, as we pull up to the South Coronet Mall, there are already vehicles parked outside as other shoppers are inside browsing their vendors. And for those of you who have never been to the South Coronet Mall before, brace yourself. Give the sec to load. And still loading. Still loading. Okay. That looks like it might be it. Every character that you see standing around this room that does not have a name over their head is a vendor. Every one of them. They are organized by categories. So here we have, loots, clothing attachments, drops, PvE provisions, more loot. These I think are clothing vendors. You have bioengineered clothing, entertainer closet, BioWare, biotech industries. Up over here, ranged power-ups, recon weapon buffs. On this side, we have radioactive power resources. So these are all crafting resources. Resources by JE Industrial. And I'm giving shout-outs to whoever I happen to read. Flowers Resource Shack. Then we have more loot vendors around here. SEA's power-ups, loots, clothing attachments, armor attachments, droids, bowl droids, which I'm guessing are just bounty hunter droids, because, yeah, seeker droids and probe droids, because the other droids aren't in-game yet. Installations, bases, harvesters, civic structures, houses, furniture, armor, mini-suits. I mean, any item in the game can pretty much be purchased here. Now, obviously, you may be able to find an item cheaper somewhere else. See, these are all different weapon vendors, and you can spend a good amount of time just shopping. Literally, it's like going to the mall in real life. Stim packs, combat stims, affordable stims, chem and bioweapons, combat pharmaceuticals. I mean, it's ridiculous. Repair tools, clothing components. There's so much stuff here. Just come down. Come on down to Crazy Eddie's. Because there really is just a lot of crap. And like I said, you might be able to find stuff elsewhere cheaper, but you're pretty much guaranteed to find what you're looking for at the South Coronet Mall. There are definitely other malls. Most major cities have malls. I believe I have another waypoint of a mall saved. Yeah, on Tatooine, Warehouse 13 Mall. which I'm not sure what city that's in. -2, -3,000, kind of in the middle. It's going to be somewhere near Bestine. But yeah. Another great way, actually, before I drive back, the last thing I'll mention is vendors, or a good way to spot vendors if you're just driving around in the wild, is to use your overhead map. There are a couple different things you need to know about this, though. Merchants will have an ability to register their vendor, and if they do, this is what it looks like. You actually get the name of the vendor on your overhead map. So as you can see, just driving towards the South Coronet Mall, it's a cluster. But you could just see by looking at your map, there must be another mall over here. There's a small mall there, a small mall there. Tons of different vendors to choose from. But what you should also take note of is, like, see this guy right here? Kind of just to the left of the middle of my screen, and this one right here as well. You can tell by looking on the map that there's a vendor in there, even though it doesn't say what it is. You can actually see vendors before you even enter the house. So, Sandbar's Pharmacy. I'm giving people little free shout-outs here. But it's important to know that just because you don't see the name of it on the map doesn't mean that there's not a vendor in there. So you can see there's 2 in this house that aren't on the map, or aren't named on the map. There's 1 in this house down here. There are so many freaking vendors to shop. 4 in this house over here. So yeah, people often ask, you know, where do I get new weapons, where do I get new armor? This is where. Have fun. Honestly, I wish there's a better way to say, you know, better way to teach. You know, oh, this is where you should go. But really, this right here, this is part of what makes Galaxies a unique MMO. There isn't, I mean, obviously the Bazaar is kind of like an auction house, sure. But because of the 20,000 credit cap on items that you can sell in the Bazaar, it really limits the usability of it in a good way. And this is why Galaxies has such a thriving in-game economy when characters can't have 10 alts, but we'll talk about that in a different video. But this right here, this is where you establish connections. This is where players can become server famous just for crafting good sets of armor. I mean, right now, I believe, as far as doctor buffs go, there are only 3 people on Basilisk right now that have resources capable of making the highest tier of buffs, of doctor buffs right now. And I believe, I don't personally know their names, but I saw people talking about it in Mos Eisley a couple days ago. Like, those 3 people are known. Like, oh, did you buy buffs from so-and-so? Oh, those are the best buffs. Oh, those aren't the best buffs because you didn't buy them from them. Like, that is only possible in a game like this, where crafted items aren't cookie-cutter replicas of each other. So, going out and finding vendors or meeting crafters, like personally meeting a weaponsmith that, you know, is going to make you weapons as you level up, like, those are experiences that this game has to offer and not many others do. So, sure, this game may be lacking a few convenient features, such as the ability to type the item name into the search bar, but don't always look at it in such a negative light. Look at what all the good stuff there is, and take it for what it's worth. All right. I hope these 2 videos have helped you guys do some shopping and find new items. As always, if you have any questions as to what category you can find a particular item under on the Bazaar, post a comment and I'll see if I can find the answer for you. But other than that, as always, thanks for watching. Like, sub if you haven't already, and I'll see you in game.